Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today here in Germany at Stuttgart Airport in the hometown of Mercedes-Benz for a full look at the new S-Class. The S-Class is always a pioneer of technology and the latest generation is an absolute tech fest, which today I'm going to give you a demonstration and run through of some of the features. We're talking things like the augmented reality heads-up display, the 3D dashboard, the 4D sound, the new MBUX, the up to 10 degrees of rear wheel steering to help the car navigate through small spaces, and even things like the intelligent park pilot, which we're actually going to head in to demonstrate here inside the parking garage, where you literally pull up, get out of your car, send it on its way to go and be parked by itself. There's a lot to go through, as well as a first opportunity to get behind the wheel of the new S-Class, so let's do this then. A full look right here. We have a line of the cars here, the S500s in the high-tech silver. There are some Onyx black cars, diamond white as well. These are the AMG line of the S500, but the new car has a much sportier design overall. I had the opportunity to take a first look around it, to go through the features initially. Today is about the drive and about going through more of this technology. We're going to be taking this car out on the roads very shortly. I'll show you very quickly the key that I've got in my pocket, the new style Mercedes key that the car has. When you open it, the door handles pop on out, and inside you can see this is a land of luxury. The new technology, 5 digital displays around the car, the new steering wheel, and so many advanced comfort features, as many of which as possible I'm going to run you through today. But let's first actually leave this car right here and head inside to the parking garage, because the automated valet parking is pretty impressive to go and see. Welcome then to where the story begins. Here at the automated valet parking, in fact, of course, on arrival it's recognized at the entry barriers. The driver pulls up though, will step out of the vehicle, take their luggage, and this is where the app steps in to take complete control to confirm that the car is ready to be taken through this garage with all of the S-Classes to be parked. Your vehicle is ready for drop-off, all through the app. Start drop-off now. You can hear the engine is running again. The car is locked. It is completely empty. There's nobody inside here. It is driving and steering itself, where it will take it to a parking spot that it's assigned. The infrastructure of the parking garage, you can see, has cameras up on the roof that help control. There are a few people around us at the moment. This is the early stages of this technology, but you can see there is nobody in this car. It is about to drive itself down to a parking spot, but it's now off on its way, and we'll go catch it around the other side. The car has navigated its way down that down ramp, where here it will head towards the parking space that the system has assigned for it through the prior reservation. With the car having chosen its parking spot, number 53 here, of course it is then maneuvering itself backwards. It is that simple. You could imagine at this stage you've walked over to the airport, you're getting ready to check in, or maybe you're going through security, while your car is now parking itself up nice and easily here in the garage. And just like that, handbrake on, car is parked, engine is off, and it's settled. This then is the car for the day as the other Onyx black car is departing. I didn't show you earlier in the back of the car, but you did notice there that the handles pop themselves out as I walked up towards it. Just look at this, a very, very luxurious place. We've got the rear seat entertainment, which has all sorts of clever features. For example, the microphones detecting the voice recognition can pick up which seat you're in and change things specific to that seat. You've got the central tablet as well, this incredibly comfortable rear section. You can have a cooling pouch between, you've got pillows, you've just got lots and lots of very nice features. The lounge seat, we will go through all of this in a little bit more detail later on. For the moment though, let me come around, take a seat inside the car and very quickly show you some elements of the MBUX. Like I said, we will go through all of this in a lot of detail. We've got the large square central screen started up. This is where you have fingerprint recognition, you have facial recognition, you have profiles. There is a lot that you can do, a lot that can be personalized and set up. Look at that dashboard display, obviously more configurations there. The heads-up display, I'm not quite sure if you can see this out in front of me. There's a lot of information, very, very large heads-up display. What a feeling even just being inside here, the large glass on the roof. The seats are magnificent, this new style for the dashboard that wraps around almost like a race circuit with the corners. We've got gesture control, we've got gaze control, we've got the 4D sound system from Burmester with the speakers which circle out. Basically, this is already magnificent, and we've not even gone anywhere. The technology fun in here actually begins before we even go anywhere. I've just been having a bit of an experiment, and there are some very cool things to show you. For example, with the ambient lighting that you have that wraps all the way around the dashboard, when you change the temperature of the climate control, for example, if we make it a touch colder, look at these blue flashes that you get running around the cabin. If you turn it warmer, exactly the same, turning red. With the ambient lighting itself, it also tells you who's speaking. So for example, if I communicate with the MBUX system, "Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?"
Change the ambient lighting to blue.
Okay, I'm changing the colour.
That's very nice, but you might also have noticed it detects who's talking. It's lighting up and blinking on my side because it can see that in this case it's the driver that's communicating with it. Now I mentioned the gaze control. To set the mirrors in the car, you don't choose whether you want to set the left or right mirror. You look at the mirror and press the buttons. So I'm looking to the right, that mirror is moving. If I look to the left, that mirror is now moving. It's that simple. You don't choose or slide a toggle from left to right. The car knows what you're doing. And similarly, the sun visor blind at the back, when you have that up, if you put the car into reverse and look over your shoulder, it then automatically lowers it. This car knows everything. There are so many sensors, attention assist, detectors, everything that just knows exactly what's going on. And this is before, like I said, we've even started to drive. If we do drive, and this is the S500, which means we've got the 3-litre inline 6-cylinder engine with the EQ boost. So we have 435 horsepower and 520 Newton meters. Plus, you have the EQ boost, which gives you a spurt of an additional 22 horsepower and 250 Newton meters. But let's head out then. Calmly and gently does it. Oh, you can instantly feel the rear wheel steering. This is a very, very highly equipped car that I'm driving at the moment. And obviously the steering goes for more stability at higher speeds, but things like the 3D display, and I know you can't quite properly see that on the camera, but I've got this amazing level of depth to the screen that I'm actually looking at. But we're heading out, the navigation route is set, I have this on my head-up display. We still, for this part of the car park at least, have the traditional old school ticket in the barrier, but ready to go and get a feel then for what this is like to drive, and I think paying specific attention to the sound and comfort levels. Oh wow, instantly. Oh, I just want to drive it slowly and gently and calmly. This is fantastic.
In 200 meters, turn left and then turn second right.
What a glide. Right, we shall follow the instructions and head towards the location, and along the way give you some thoughts. Cruising along on the Autobahn in the company of another S-Class at the moment, and look at how majestic the car actually looks. I can tell you it is very calm, it is very quiet, it is very comfortable, and of course the car has the Drive Pilot, so autonomous driving capability, loaded with cameras, lasers, radars, sensors of all sorts to be able to drive itself, but at the moment driven, of course, by legislation, not having the full ability to be unleashed to drive itself, just at slower speeds, for example. We do have also the adaptive cruise control, so on the lower left side of the steering wheel I have the toggles to pop it onto the automatic cruise control, where it will actually adjust the speed depending on the speed limit, so it makes life very, very easy. In fact, if we just set this smoothly into racks, set it up to the speed limit itself, there we go, out onto the main road. As we cross over the lines here, it also vibrates the steering wheel to let us know. We've got the assisted steering, so if you take your hands off the wheel, the car will keep you in the lane. It has everything. It makes the driving experience so easy and effortless. All of these driver aids, you know, it will have pre-safe. So for example, if the car in front of you slams its emergency brakes on, this car will do exactly the same in recognition of when it's happening. It has the option to recognize what's happening from the side as well. If you're going to have a side impact, let's say the car is going to be T-boned from the side, it will actually, using the e-active body control suspension, jump up the suspension so that the impact is more to the chassis below you as opposed to straight into the side of the doors. All of these safety things that are underlying, and those aren't all of the comfort features, the multi-way seats, the massage function, the energizing comfort control that uses the lighting and the temperature to do all sorts of different effects. And even in the glove box, we actually have in here the fragrance dispenser, which you can choose between a number of different fragrances to experience part of the ride. And I mean, it just goes on and on. But the general drive, like this, just taking it easy. It's so quiet and calm. It all just comes together. What a place to be. Unfortunately, the weather has taken a little turn for the worse, but we do also have the dynamic driving controls. Here in the central console, you can go through a few different settings. We've got Eco, Comfort, Sport, or Sport Plus. Now in Sport Plus, given we're on a de-restricted autobahn, let me use kick down, foot to the floor. Obviously in here, this is not the most powerful version of the car. There is also a V8, the S580, and then in the future, no doubt there'll be an S63 from AMG, and hopefully a Maybach version as well for the ultimate in luxury. But even in here, you do not realise the speed. This is 230 kilometers per hour, and it's very, very quiet and very calm for that speed, as you would expect. It's the S Class. I do think, though, I should probably experience what it's like to be chauffeur-driven in the car, so to take a seat and step into the back. A change around then on this very autumnal day. Not exactly the best weather, but also firstly a quick look at the exterior from the back of the car, where you can see that more coupe-like styling that it has, giving it the sportier appearance. But let's hop in to be chauffeur-driven and get more of a feel for what the back of this car is like, including the lounge seating, the fridge, the control that you have as well back here with the MBUX systems. So let me take a step on board. We're in the extended car, so huge amounts of legroom, as you can see. We've also now got the lighting in green. We have soft close for the doors, but back here it is instantly very, very comfortable. So let's continue on our way then, and I can show you through more of what we have. But just look around. We've got the blinds up. What a calm and comfortable place already to be. The Burmester sound system with speakers all around. You can see in the center of the roof, also over towards the side. But inside here, you can see through to the front. You can see the screens and controls up there, but you have your displays back here, which offer a lot. Basically extending the functionality of the main MBUX system to all seats and all positions. And like I said, if I talk to MBUX from back here, it would know that I'm talking to it from this seating position. Inside here, you can also replicate this exact screen onto the tablet in the center. You can choose whether it shows what's on the rear left screen or on the rear right. This, which is fixed in place, allows us control of the media, the music, the navigation, the comfort settings, for example, the massaging seat that you can have as well in the rear of the car. You've got all of the information to do with the vehicle, to do with how we're being driven. Some 54% there on the accelerator pedal. As we're cruising down the Autobahn, engine consumption, you can see everything. Amazing charts, beautifully presented. That's one of the things with this. Everything is so perfectly shown. The air quality, the climate control, and again back here, if we go up with the temperature, for example, it gives us this visual demonstration through the lighting. That's such a lovely thing, just being conscious of that in the background while you're cruising in the car. The weather is certainly taking a turn for the worse, but if we go here to the navigation now, we've made some progress. We've got 17 kilometers to our exit, but a very clear view of that. And from an infotainment point of view, it is incredible how much is on offer back here. But let me show you some of the other features and generally just take a little poke around at what we've got. So in the center, you have this floating wireless charging device for your mobile device. It's pivoted slightly back, but I find it protrudes a little bit awkwardly, to be honest. Underneath that, hidden away inside here though, we have the hardware climate control buttons if you prefer to use those than the ones in the software. Then we have the cup holders. Now these are cool because they are both cooled with the blue light or heated with the red light. Those small details which just make it a very pleasant experience to actually be inside here. Even the air conditioning vents all around the car have 3 stages through a button as opposed to a more traditional toggle to change the amount of airflow that's coming through them. You can see the lighting as it's got a little bit darker as well around the backs of the seats. The finish, the trims, the materials, everything is fantastic. The perforations for the heating and cooled seats that you have even back here in the 2-seat configuration. You can have the more traditional bench seat should you prefer, of course. You can eject the tablet. So this tablet here, if you press the button, it releases it. It allows you to lift it out where it shows an exact mirror of what you have on the display depending which side you choose. You can see rear left and rear right down at the bottom, but you can put this back into place where it will be held securely as well. You can turn it off or turn all of the screens off independently. Now right behind us in the center here, we actually have a fridge in the storage compartment. You have different settings here, 2 settings. I guess you can make it very, very cold should you prefer. But just back in there, just enough room to store, well, your bottles of champagne or whatever it might be. A bottle of water, just for today though. That works nice and easily, just tucked in between the 2 seats in the back. Hidden away completely, obviously takes away a little bit of the space that you'd have in the boot. Now back here we do have the blinds. You can control all of these, again done either through the tablet, through the screen, or through some of the controls that you have. And you'll notice here we also have the memory seats, the cooling, the ability to control the front seat. So you can move here and just select the front seat and move that around on its own from the back if you want a little bit more space. Or you have this button, which is the lounge seating configuration. Now, one press of that effectively moves the front seat as far forward as it can go. It tucks down the headrest, pulls the backrest forward to the optimum position, of course not intruding on the driver's visibility as much as possible. And it does take a moment, you do have to wait for this to happen, but ultimately the footrest is going to come out. My seat is going to fully go into the relaxed position as well. Even here we have an air conditioning vent on the B-pillar. That's the control for that one. Like I say, it does take a moment, but now my seat is on the move. I'm being tilted backwards, my base rest is coming up, and I know in a moment that footrest is going to come out as well to give a very comfortable lounge seat here in the back of the car. Just going to wait for that. I think in the meantime I'm going to go here and can I do the blinds? Trying to work out how to do everything as I go. It's a little bit far of a stretch, but that's why you have the tablet, I suppose, to make life easier. And now here it's waiting for the footrest, I think, to extend in just a moment. It says mine is just putting itself, the cushion, you've even got the padded cushions here, and yes, out comes the footrest. Lovely, more than enough space in the extended car, and now I can have a chill out and basically have a sleep in the back of the very quiet S-Class. That's really, really quite luxurious. I mean, I didn't expect anything else really from this car. Then again, one press and it all returns back to the normal position, everything happening a little bit quicker in this direction. But so easy. I mean, these are the controls for the blinds. He says if we pull them, oh, that's the sunroof I've just closed up, actually, that one. You can close that and open it. Then we've got the blinds to the side and to the windows. In fact, you do this, there we go, blind comes up. I think you can do, it's nice the way it actually tucks away. You can do one press or two presses depending, and it moves the various parts. That's really clever, actually. I like that a lot. Seat is just finishing off its move as well, back into the normal position. What else do we have here? I guess it's all quite self-explanatory. The seat movements themselves, these detect the pressure. They don't actually physically move like we're more familiar with. So they detect when you're pressing on the buttons and adjust depending on obviously the direction you're trying to move it. Again, speaker grills just absolutely everywhere. But when it comes to being a very comfortable and luxurious place to take a long drive, to be chauffeur driven, doesn't really get much better than this, does it? This is really very, very pleasant. There is a checkpoint here now at a location to experience some of the other features, but unfortunately the weather is absolutely atrocious. We will, however, go and see what the car can do with its new parking assistant. I didn't point it out earlier, but there is a grab handle here just beyond the armrest, and we have soft close on the doors as well, and I'm here on board with Benedict.
Hi guys, I'd like to show you the new parking system on the S-Class.
This sounds fantastic. So let's go and see what this car can do using all of its cameras. Now, I haven't really spoken about this yet, but of course there are a lot of cameras and sensors around the car to help us in a way demonstrate many of the different bits of functionality that it can actually do. And believe me, this is going to be really very impressive. So this whole area is set up for the purpose, right? With all the cars in position. So you've just pressed one button.
I just pressed one button and the car parks itself on the lines.
So the car, so how does this work? It's detecting all of the lines.
Exactly, the cameras are detecting all the lines and knows where the park spot is, and then the car parks in.
So it's doing everything, you're not pressing any pedals?
Nothing.
So
car is doing everything on its own.
At the press of one button?
The press of one button.
Well, that was remarkably impressive and easy.
It's great, it's really easy. There's a fun trick. So when we park out, I start the maneuver again, and due to the rear axle steering, you can see that the trajectories from the front wheels and the rear wheels are parallel. So this means the car now will move out diagonal.
It is crabbing. Effectively, like we saw in the concept AVTR, the rear wheels go in the same direction as the front rather than the opposite.
Exact.
Wow.
So I start driving and the car drives diagonal.
This feels, it's a hard one to explain and show really, but you can see from the cameras and screens around us what's going on. And it's got a very clear view as well of everything. And it's still doing it itself.
Everything on itself. And when it says it's finished, I take over the wheel and I'm in charge of driving.
That's amazing to experience and to see.
It's a really, really cool feature. I really like it.
And then this is where you turn using the rear wheel steering.
Exactly. Very tight circle, real easy.
Up to 10 degrees of rear wheel steering, which means a 2 meter smaller radius than otherwise. So
exactly. So if you now approach cross parking, the car detects that there is a park spot. I change to the park view. I can see here the park spot. I can choose the direction how I want to put it in.
Yeah.
I want to do the front. Press the button.
This is amazingly simple. So just like that. We tuck in between the other Mercedes cars. But even this turn that we're doing right now, you realize like a normal car can't do that kind of angle.
So this is the other advantage of the rear axle steering. It really helps us reducing the number of strokes needed to get into the park spot. So the other park system has a great benefit from the rear axle steering.
Yeah, for sure. And it's that easy.
So now we're in the cross parking. We park out. We also can select
you can choose which way you want to go.
Exact. And with the button pressed and shifting to reverse, it starts again. Park out.
Oh. And
So there was a vehicle coming from the side. So the car warned us that there is
that there was the other car going straight past, because we heard the beep and then it stopped us before we would have hit them.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of these systems, but this is by far the cleanest, easiest, smoothest.
Yeah. So we're very proud that we could go a further step in automating the parking with the new S Class.
We can get round in front of... No, can we?
We can.
Wow! That's the four-wheel steering at work.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So the other cool thing we have here is the new camera system. So it's 3D.
Oh, yeah.
You can fly around the car. You can find every angle how you'd like to look at your car, and always when you're maneuvering to get the right view on your car, you can also zoom in. And what's also real cool, this module of the S Class is realistic. So if I steer, you can see that the steering wheels are changing.
Actually, talking about this, let me just point my camera out for a second so everyone can see this with the rear wheel steering. Look at those. That's the rear wheels, not the front, the rear wheels. It's actually amazing to see that, of course. Even with the door open, it still gives you a pretty good view of what's around. Oh, and it shows the soft close as well. It
also shows you the indicator lights. So it's completely realistic.
This is just incredible.
And what is also cool, this 3D camera view is also intelligent. So I put it now in auto mode.
Yeah.
And now, dependent on the distance to obstacles, it suggests me a view. This means if I now approach here to an obstacle in the front, it changes automatically the view and gives me also here a view where it's zoomed in. So I always have a clear view on what is right in front of the car.
Which is traditionally quite hard to do. Although on the S Class we do always get the three-pointed star on the nose, which is very nice. But that, I mean, these features just to make the ease of use and livability of the car.
Yeah, I'm sure if you once experienced this system, you always want to have it in your car.
100%.
You will miss it on any other car which is not equipped with it.
For sure, incredible. Well, thank you very much for the demonstration. That was really...
Yeah, my pleasure. You're welcome.
Really, really cool. I've hopped out of the car for a moment. There's a lot going on, as you can see, because I want to see what this rear wheel steering actually looks like from the outside. Look at that! And look at how tightly the car can steer. At higher speeds, above 60 kilometers an hour, it only goes up to 4.5 degrees, which is still substantially more than you might find in other cars. Of course, giving maneuverability, but also high-speed stability. There are no signs of the weather improving anytime soon, but we have a spectacular lineup here with all of the different varieties, different color schemes as well. You can see the 580e version, the plug-in hybrid, all charging off the container just there. And I'm going to be taking now for a quick drive the S580 itself, the 4-litre bi-turbo V8 that makes 500 horsepower and 700 newton meters of torque. We'll go for a quick drive in this before I think swapping back to maybe one of the others. We'll see. Let's get it started. And even with the V8, it is still pretty quiet and calm. So close the door because the weather is horrible outside. I want to talk a bit about the driver dashboard, the 3D driver dashboard. Now on the central screen, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 as our default pin to log in. It's haptic, so you feel the vibrations as you're pressing. Now when you have this button illuminated up top for 3D, you literally have a 3D display. Now I'm not sure if the camera sees this in the same way that the human eyes do, but for example, the trip reading in the center is floating over the background image, and you can actually change the display itself as well. If you press here on the left side, home, you have a number of different displays. That's the exclusive display. To the left you have sporty, and you can see that almost tunnel-like look that you have down through there. I'm not sure if you see it the same way I do, but it's very, very cool to see it in person. Then we've also got the subtle display here, and we've got a few others as well. So for example, well, classic, you can go into the full navigation and have this entire navigation view, which very much is, it takes a moment to get used to. You've still got your core driving information, but this 3D perspective almost with the car floating over the top of the background map. And then you have your assistant settings and your service as well. So there's a lot of different data and settings really, how you'd like to control it. If I just press this button so that you can hopefully see the difference, take it out of 3D, everything basically flattens and looks like your more traditional digital display. So you can probably see quite a different look, but that is really quite a nice feature again to be able to play with. So let's pop it into gear then and go out and drive. I have only just pulled out onto the open road. Of course it's wet, but we do have four-wheel drive, and I tell you what, this is instantly more me. Having that grumble of the V8 in the background, the car just feels like a slightly more sporty characteristic, and obviously there will be the AMG variant. I'm going to put the car now though up into Sport Plus, just because I enjoy that kind of driving. Downshift a couple of gears. We do have some pretty horrible weather, unfortunately. This has all gone completely pear-shaped for trying to have a nice day, but listen to that. Fantastic. I feel like it's just a touch more dynamic. More suited to the countryside road driving, but still equipped in the same way, with the same level of tech, with every feature that we've shown. It still has the EQ boost, so obviously for a quick acceleration, that's actually more power than I think I had expected out of the car. You can drive it in a sporty way if you want. Clearly this is the right choice in those terms. But all in all, it's an absolutely delightful car to drive. There are some peculiarities perhaps with the interior. I know some things people have pointed out, but I love the lighting. I love the way that works. The ease of communicating with the car if you want to change any settings, the advanced functionality that comes through all of the parking and the safety systems. I'm wishing I'd been driving the V8 all along actually. This has really come to life much more for me, obviously as a person who loves sports cars and loves dynamic driving. While the S500 was very comfortable, very smooth, very quiet, I enjoy that V8 grumble in the background, especially under some acceleration. Before we swap back from this car, the biggest thing that I can't quite get my head around is how a big car like this can just turn in ludicrously tight circles. I mean, I've obviously seen it from the outside, but the turning circle just makes no sense. In fact, just empty, well I say empty car park, but car park filled with different cars. We have the space here, full lock to the left, and we can turn just in the area of these spaces. This is actually ridiculous. I mean, you could turn and do a full 180 in a normal width road. You don't need a huge amount of space, which means where sometimes it would have been a 5-point turn, maybe now it's a 1-point or 3-point turn. And just generally using the car is infinitely easier as a result. Really, really, really interesting. It's an option to add to the cars, but a thoroughly, thoroughly recommended option. This car actually has the traditional bench seat in the rear. I didn't mention earlier that you have the headphones, the headsets for the infotainment, but in the center you have the armrest. Of course, this can fold back away, still with the tablet in the center, additional storage compartment back there, and obviously with the ability now to tuck it completely back away and have the fifth seat in the center rather than that higher central tunnel that the two-seat configuration has in the back. You do sacrifice a little bit of the luxury potentially, but still it's a really, really nice place, isn't it? Just land of luxury, especially with the red leather against the white paintwork of this car too. One thing that I really need to try and show you is how this augmented reality heads-up display actually works. So we're approaching towards a junction. Now the navigation system here is going to bring up an overlay as well, which we've seen before on the likes of the E-Class and some of the other models. And that alone is already a pretty clever way of guiding you through junctions. If you're lost and not quite sure what you're doing, it overlays with the front camera to make it a little bit easier, as you're going to see in just a moment as we get a touch closer. Here we go. It brings up this graphic with the blue arrows to point exactly where you need to go when you get towards the junction, shows you the road name, and this is really, really special to begin with. But then when you actually get here yourself, have a look at the heads-up display that I have as the driver. Right in front of me, you have those arrows overlaid exactly where you're going, and they change and give you a different perspective. So for example, as I pull out, you'll see that they update to position towards the road. How incredibly clever is that? Never seen anything like it. Just brilliant integration of technology, and almost no more an excuse for taking the wrong junction because it's right in your sight line. With all of this set up, the gigantic heads-up display, there's so much information that's actually displayed there for me. Driving has just become so easy with this, but easy in a really premium way, a really nice way, not a fully autonomous way, at least in the way we're driving right now, just in a genuinely, you know, look at this. Look at how easy it makes it. You can see the cars, you can see that it wants us to go all the way around the roundabout. And then here, I see the same on the heads-up display that you see to take that exit. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This journey has been atrocious weather, lots of traffic, and we do actually have a Mercedes test car that we're just going past as well as it happens. Prototypes out on the roads. But let me show you a few other things that you can do in here with the voice assistant. Hey Mercedes, can you tell a joke?
Why don't oysters give to charity? Because they are shellfish.
Oh, the Christmas jokes are on fire when it comes to this. We've heard some absolute classics. Let's actually see if we can get another one. Although I notice it keeps detecting that I'm talking. Obviously, you can see that it has these flashing icons. So, hey Mercedes,
How can I help?
can you tell a joke?
Sorry, my engineers were German.
If only we could ask Mercedes to somehow make it stop raining, hey? Alas, not going to be happening today. This is literally cruise autopilot. And in this situation, when in so many cars, you're just, I guess, fed up. And here the drive is so easy that you just let it roll. It just happens. Arrived then back where we began earlier on in the Bosch and Mercedes-Benz Apcoa car park, where technically the car could now valet park itself. A couple more things just to quickly show you though. The car has now gone into the night mode, detecting lower light. And I tell you what, that is a really cool looking dashboard. You can also see on the camera the flashing purple lights, which are basically the attention assist. They are infrared, you don't see them with your own eyes at all. That is why the camera sees them, but the human eyes don't. Inside though, with the lighting, the gentle illumination we have at the moment, I guess it's just a really nice place. Obviously keeping all of the piano black around here clean, probably a little bit of a challenge, but everything lit up, even the seatbelt plugs are lit up. And if you go to indicate, by the way, and move over and the blind spot monitoring detects something, the entire half of that stripe flashes red at you as well. So you definitely know about it. Anyway, let me turn off the S500, take a step outside. It's just a small pull on the door handle to release, step on out. Speaker grills everywhere. You notice quite how many of these there are dotted all around the car. Filthy weather. You could have the optional 21-inch wheels, slightly larger than we have on this car, but wearing the AMG line package, so giving the more sporty front grille. I'll quickly come to the luggage space. We didn't talk about this. Obviously S-Class, big boot back here, taken up a little bit by the extra space consumed for the fridge that you have in the center. Normally that would go all the way through. but overall, still a pretty decent amount of space. I think it has to be said. Obviously, power fold on there as well. So I hope that's been a pretty good introduction and demonstration of the technology available in the new Mercedes-Benz S Class. He says, as the other car turns on, reminding me that I did not yet mention the new digital light, the projection headlights with millions of pixels, which could in theory project an image or a moving video. What they actually do is block out very carefully what's coming onwards towards you, which means that they give a great view without dazzling oncoming traffic. And the triple headlight beams that you can see, the triple eyes that you have on each side. Of course, at the front, the bigger, more angular grille as well. We didn't go through all of this. The sensor for most of the radars and things up front, the camera that you can see tucked in here, all around. Plenty of nice details, but smart, classy, very, very smart, in fact, especially in high-tech silver. And I guess hearing the planes in the background means it is probably time to be off. For today though, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Run through the absolute tech fest, as I said earlier, that is the new latest generation Mercedes-Benz S Class. That's it for now though. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.